Millions of Americans trust that the 401k is a reliable, secure wealth-building tool designed for their retirement. Labor economist Teresa Ghilarducci sees it differently. She classifies the 401k as a failed experiment, noting that it was originally created as a narrow tax shelter for corporate executives. Political scientist Jacob Hacker describes this transition as the Great Risk Shift. Modern workers now navigate a financial tightrope without an adequate safety net below them. This chart shows the predicted probability of a 50% or greater drop in a family's income. From 1970 to 2002, the risk of a devastating financial reversal has sharply trended upward. The instability of the modern retirement system is the predictable outcome of moving risk away from broad institutions and onto the individual worker. This represents a structural redesign of how economic security functions. Following World War II, the middle class relied on a three-legged stool for stability. Guaranteed corporate pensions formed a secure foundation for American families. Under that old defined benefit pension system, corporate employers absorbed all the risk. They managed the investments, calculated the actuarial tables, and guaranteed a predictable monthly income for life. That stability shattered in 1963, when the Studebaker automobile plant collapsed. The bankruptcy exposed the fragility of corporate promises, leaving thousands of long-time workers destitute and without their expected pensions. In response, Congress passed the Employee Retirement Income Security Act in 1974. The legislation was intended to protect workers by forcing companies to properly fund and insure their pension obligations. However, those strict new funding requirements and insurance premiums made offering a guaranteed pension prohibitively expensive and legally burdensome for employers. Corporate executives looked for an exit. They began freezing their traditional pension plans, pivoting instead to the newly codified 401k structure as a way to permanently delete long-term retirement liabilities from their balance sheets. This legal maneuver allowed corporate America to successfully amputate its obligations. The individual American worker was left completely to face the volatility of the global financial market entirely alone. The financial industry frequently attributes a failing retirement account to the individual. Their dominant narrative insists that workers simply do not save enough, or that they pick the wrong funds. But human cognition is inherently incompatible with the complex, voluntary structure of modern retirement accounts. Behavioral economists call this choice overload. The financial system assumes that expanding investment options automatically benefits the saver. When an employee is confronted with dozens of complex mutual fund options, the result is decision fatigue. Mathematically, as the number of choices increases, overall plan enrollment drops. Expanding investment choices does not empower the worker. It acts as a structural feature of a toxic environment, practically guaranteeing worker paralysis. When humans are paralyzed by overwhelming choice, they instinctively default to a psychological state known as status quo bias. They blindly accept whatever default settings their employer has chosen. This bias leads employees to stick with dismal default contribution rates. Through sheer inertia, workers mathematically guarantee they will underfund their own futures. Once invested, a second vulnerability triggers during market volatility: myopic loss aversion. Psychological research shows that humans feel financial losses roughly twice as deeply as equivalent gains. This deep aversion pushes workers into sudden panic, causing destructive, overly cautious portfolio moves at the exact wrong times. Status quo bias and myopic loss aversion freeze the middle class in a permanent suboptimal state. They are perfectly positioned for the final phase of Wall Street's trap. Meanwhile, the financial services industry operates on a different set of roles. Their profitability is entirely decoupled from the actual success or failure of the workers' investments. The core mechanic of this extraction phase is a layered system of asset-based fees. These charges silently drain capital from the paralyzed worker's account year after year. These structures are purposefully opaque. They include expense ratios covering management, continuous assets under management fees, and 12b-1 distribution fees that compensate brokers strictly for marketing. The obfuscation is highly effective. Surveys reveal that over a third of participants falsely believe they are paying absolutely zero fees for their accounts. This layered fee structure functions as a systemic wealth extraction engine, continuously pulling capital out of the American paycheck while remaining largely invisible to the account holder. Percentages can be deeply deceptive. To the average retail investor, a 1% management fee sounds harmless and insignificant. But when that 1% fee is compounded over a standard 30 to 40-year career trajectory, the impact is catastrophic. This seemingly minor fee can devour up to 28% of a worker's total retirement nest egg, easily exceeding $100,000 in lost wealth. Corporations successfully de-risked their balance sheets. In exchange, Wall Street secured a permanent, guaranteed revenue stream pulled directly from middle-class wages. The 401k system functions exactly as it was designed to. It secured the financial stability of corporations and the profits of Wall Street, leaving the American worker to manage the risks alone.